how to eat, how to train, and how to think. I'm going to show you my favorite nutrition tool, my favorite nutrition app. Also going to talk about cardiovascular, the strength of it and why it is so important and how we can use it. And lastly, what you actually can do to stay motivated when it comes to your fitness routine. So what I'm going to do to start is actually go ahead and share a screen here, this right here. Now this is Nutritionix. Now I like to use Nutritionix specifically because it's really detailed when it comes to all the different macronutrients, micronutrients, everything that you need to be able to develop your proper meal plan. A lot of people ask, what is it that I should be eating? When should I be eating? You know, this is really going to help you out. Cool thing about the app here, well, they have an app. You can also do it on their website. The database is really cool because they're loaded up. They got 843 restaurants on here. You know, the cool thing is they're the main big chains. So a lot of the places you go, you can actually find out what your macros are just simply right here. They have some really cool tools to help you when it comes to your daily calories. Of course, you know, when you're working in the program here, I show you how to look at all this. We don't necessarily use all of it, but if it is needed, it is very effective for you. Again, if you need that extra assistance. But what we're going to do today is I'm just going to go to the homepage here and just going to kind of show you a basic, you know, a very popular protein is chicken. So when you search up your macronutrient, your protein, your fat, your carbs, whatever it ends up being, what you're going to end up noticing is the first thing it shows you is how many ounces. So it's going to give you what your chicken's going to weigh or how much you're looking to do it. You have a couple different options. I like to do ounces, especially when I'm writing out meal plans, mainly because you got to be able to know what is going to come in your ounces. A lot of times these chickens out there, you know, you can see a chicken breast in the grocery store that looks like a freaking super chicken, or you can see one if you go to your local farmer's market. Some of you may think it's the size of a pigeon, but the thing is these chickens are raised differently. They're also fed differently. So I like to go off of ounces rather than a whole chicken because I can actually be a little bit more precise on my measurements. But let's just say, you know, for example, we'll say 5 ounces of chicken. The reason I'm doing this is because this is a pretty common measurement for when people are building out their meal plans. But what this thing shows me is that I've got 312 calories in this 5 ounces of chicken. So you can add this to the food log, which we were talking about just a second ago. But let's just say we're not building that out at all. You can see the difference between fried chicken and regular chicken. I'm also going to show you the difference between like chicken breast and chicken thigh. But if I just click this little arrow here, what it's going to do is give me these nutrition facts. Now, these nutrition facts, you know, this is as best as we can get. Wow, it shot up to 15 ounces. So I'm going to take this. You always got to check, make sure you're at. So I'm putting in 5 again. So it's showing me that for 5 ounces of this chicken here, I can get about 311 calories, get about 19 grams of fat. I'm looking at very minimal carbohydrates, of course, and about 34 grams of protein. So I can use those numbers, specifically the calories, the total fat, the total carbs, and the protein when it comes to building out a meal plan. Now, if you're into more of these details, some people have the Apple Watch and some people have the different meal plan programs with that. We can plug this stuff right up into it. So it kind of depends on how specific yours is. But let's say we look at a chicken thigh first. So chicken thigh itself, this is one chicken thigh. They do have ounces in here, but remember you have that bone in there. So you do have to plan for that. But let's just say we'll just use the one, 278 calories. But the main thing I want to show you here about that 18 grams of fat. So you're going to have a lot more fat when it comes to your chicken thigh compared to like your chicken breast, for example. So if we go in chicken, should probably spell it right with one hand here. If we go into our chicken breast, we can already see a difference in the calories. So we're going to just go ahead and click the cooked one and look at this difference here. 4.3 grams of fat, still getting over 30 grams of protein. So just simply like that, you're seeing how just a chicken breast and a chicken thigh have a dramatic difference in the amount of fat content go in there. So if you're actually trying to build muscle or even lose fat, the last thing you want to be doing right now is putting in more fat. So we want to try to find protein sources that are going to have a limited amount of fat, but give you a high amount of protein. So I'll use another one, which is really common. Let's use sirloin steak, right? So sirloin, I probably could just typed in, yeah, let me just type in, oh, that's probably spell it right. Sirloin, that's what we want to type. So 3 ounces here, let's just use the 3 ounces, which is fine. But the main thing here, sirloin, I'm noticing 12 grams of fat. So I just want to point out that not all steaks are made equal. So you still are getting a good amount of protein. This is the 23 grams. Let's take it back up to kind of what I was looking at before. So 5 ounces, I'm getting about 40 grams of protein. So I'm getting even more protein, but it is going to have some fat in it, 20 grams of fat, different from that chicken breast we were looking at. So if we then look at, how about filet mignon? Anybody had that? Filet mignon is much leaner. It's different cuts can be. And so sometimes you'll see that in the nutrition facts here, but as I'm noticing right here, it's telling me that there's 25 grams of fat, 37 grams of protein. Now, of course, you can actually look at the filet itself and you can tell if it has a lot of fat content in it because there is different cuts. So personally, I would look for something that's much more lean. But then, for example, let's look at a ribeye. And we'll go through these quickly, but just to kind of, again, show you the differences of fat content versus protein. So again, we're going to take this up so it's even. We're looking at a high 27 grams of fat with the 35 grams of protein. So out of everything that I've shown you so far, that chicken breast had the best ratio, which was a high protein and a really low fat. So another one that is really good for that, high protein, low fat, would be turkey. Now, a lot of times I'll get the ground turkey because it's just easier to get and it's easier to prepare. But let's just get a quick glance at this. We'll take it up to 5 ounces. And I'm only using 5 ounces just because that's sometimes where I'll start. I personally go between 5 and 7 ounces for my meals. Yours might be different, so you can just very easily change it. But again, 40 grams of protein and only 10 grams of fat. So, and I'm choosing these because, there's no carbohydrates in here. Now, when you're looking at your proteins, you just got to look at, how many calories am I getting? And with those calories I get, how many have to be fat versus how many can be protein? Your ideal goal is to get as much if you're trying to build muscle and if you're trying to lose weight by exercising, you do want to get protein in your diet to make sure that you're actually supporting the muscle in your body. So there's just real quick on proteins, but let's just say you wanted to see your rice, right? Maybe you're having rice with your protein, chicken and rice, really popular. So like, for example, a cup of rice, 205 calories. I'm just going to click over so I can see more. That's if you're having a cup. You, of course, can change the measurement if you need to, but 45 grams of carbs. Now, you can also look at a half a cup, 22 grams of carbs. Looks like you can also, if we go back a little bit, you can change the measurement altogether. And so you can kind of choose exactly what you're looking for. It really kind of depends on how you're weighing out your food, but it's going to give you all the details there. Another thing to point out, for example, maybe a potato, right? You can just type it in, and then you can go over tons of different common forms of eating a potato. But the point here is you should be able to find what it is that you're eating pretty quickly and be able to type these numbers in. Again, you can do it on your own spreadsheet. I've done it with people on a spreadsheet. You can use the actual food log that they provide. You can combine this with the Apple Watch to be able to type in and have everything feed itself right on over. Just a really effective tool when it comes to figuring out what macros, basically what is your food made up of. That's the most important part. So hope that helps. Let me kind of pop out of here. Now, that's just for nutrition, right? That's just for nutrition. The goal there with that, again, like I said, is counting your macros and making sure that all that stuff makes sense. So the second thing tonight, and that's how to eat, right? So the second thing tonight is how to train. So we're going to be talking about real quickly, not going to be long, on cardio. Now, what is cardio? Why is it important? And what are some of the ways that you can do cardio to be very effective? So, in general, cardio stands for cardiovascular strength. And ultimately, that is just the relationship between the heart and the lungs. So, if the heart is strong, it's going to be able to pump the oxygen that the lungs bring in to all of the muscles of the body. Now, the stronger the lungs are, the more air, the more oxygen that they can get to the heart. The stronger the heart is, the more effective it will be in pumping that blood out to the body. So every time that your heart beats, your heart is pumping that blood out into the body. And every time in between beats, your heart's actually bringing deoxygenated blood back to the lungs to become re-oxygenated and sent right back out. So the heart is truly this pumping and filling and pulling back in organ that really helps you oxygenate your blood, which will then help stimulate and feed your muscles. You can use oxygen for energy. You can use oxygen for recovery. It can help you get rid of lactic acid that's in the body. Very, very good. Now, a lot of people will also think that cardiovascular work will make you lose weight. So if you're in the group like I was and you're trying to build muscle, you don't necessarily want to lose weight, right? You may want to trim excess fat, but you're not necessarily trying to see that scale drop because you're mentally trying to increase the scale. So how does cardio help you when it comes to muscle building? The challenge with building a muscle is it does have to get stronger. So in order to make it stronger, you have to break it down. That's where our dumbbell strength training work comes in, kettlebell work, all different types. I don't even want to get into the different styles because there's so many different styles, but anything that's going to create and promote the muscle to have to get stronger the next time it comes about that exercise. So that's why we like to use heavier weight or more challenging exercises, or more of an endurance style exercise that's going to challenge the muscle more than it's used to be challenged, excuse me. But the thing here is, if the muscle is not getting enough nutrients and not getting enough oxygen in order to continue to be strong and continue to perform, it's not going to perform. So one of the magic secrets to actually building muscle and getting stronger is making sure that your heart and lung relationship is very strong. The best way that you do that, of course, is going to be doing some type of cardiovascular exercise. Sometimes people will do it in the morning, right after waking up. That's called fasted cardio. Some people will do it right before a workout to try and stimulate the system and basically get things flowing, get the body nice and warm before training. And then others will do the cardio post-workout as a purpose to try and burn over any type of leftover fuel that is still in the system. Either way, no matter how you're doing it, you're forcing your heart and lungs to have to get stronger. Now, again, if you are used to walking every morning, then you're probably going to have to do something that's a little bit more of a stimulation in order to actually get that benefit from the cardio. My point being, we've been walking for most of our lives. So you can't just expect a simple walk to truly stimulate your body. It may get things warm, it may get things flowing, but is it really going to stimulate you to a point where it's challenging you to have to get stronger? That's where we have these machines now that can go faster or that can create more tension or add more weight to your body or make you do more challenging things in a certain amount of time. Like, that's the purpose of these different increments, to be able to be able to judge a metric of you getting better. And the way that we're getting better is that you're building more endurance and your muscles getting stronger. Again, the only way that these organs can even work in the first place is they have to be stimulated by oxygen. So that's going to be where the heart and lungs are working together to disperse that oxygen to the rest of the body. So we kind of touched real quick on when to do cardio. Again, if it's bright early in the morning before you put any food in, that's normally referred to as fasted cardio. There are many different perceptions on fasted cardio. So make sure that if you're doing it, it makes sense with your nutrition and your training. There's also doing cardio pre-workout. I don't like doing a lot of cardio pre-workout because I don't want majority of my fuel to be spent on the cardio. I want my fuel to be spent strength training, building muscle. But that's just because that's my personal goal. If your goal is to build muscle, you want to spend a lot of that fuel when you're actually doing the exercises that will build individual muscle. So that would be your strength training. When it comes to post-workout, you'll see that many times as well. mainly for people that are looking to burn fat, lose weight, and try to trim any excess carbohydrates or fats or anything they had for the day, trying to get rid of it before bed. All these have their benefits. I won't say one is better than the other, but its effectiveness is completely dependent on your style of training and the food that's going in. Now, those are dependent on your goals. So you should make sure that your goals are written and you're very familiar with what they are before we actually get into programming a specific type of workout. That's going to help you understand what's going to be the best for you when it comes to your food and your nutrition. So that's the same thing, your food, your training, and then most importantly, what we're talking about now, when you might do cardio. I recommend it for everyone that's out there, whether you're trying to lose weight, build muscle, or even just maintain, because it's going to keep that heart and lung relationship really strong. So last here is how to think in this whole fitness health transformation game. So this one came from a talk that I had recently with somebody, and also something I heard in a podcast recently too. What are some of the things that you can do to stay motivated when you are not seeing results? And this may be, you may not be seeing the weight loss results you're looking for. You may not be seeing the muscle gain results you're looking for. You may not have that spark that you've been looking for. Like, oh, I can't wait to go work out. You may still be kind of dragging to get into the gym. You may not have your family following along with how you may have wanted them, as if you're trying to change the health of the family. It just may be that struggle. So how do you stay motivated to keep going on? The first thing that I'll say is that you need to eliminate the need to compare yourself to other people. When you compare yourself, you're only going to compare yourself to somebody else's greatest moment, their best, and it's always going to be compared to your worst. Never do we ever go at it about it and think, oh, I'm going to compare my best to this person's worst. Many times we'll even think, if I compare my best to their worst, that's not fair. But we'll flip it around and compare our worst to their best in a heartbeat. Everybody does it. So the first thing that I want you to do is to start eliminating how much you're comparing yourself to other people. This could be from social media. This could be from people in your own gym. This could be from people in your own family. This could be even a significant other. But what you need to do is remember that you're on this journey and it's your journey, meaning the things that worked for them are not exactly and specifically or guaranteed going to work for you. That doesn't mean that you can't achieve it. That doesn't mean that you can't achieve your goals, but that does mean that there is a high probability that you're going to have to do something different than they did. Even if the recipe looks the same, even if, they have the same complications in life, if they have the same goal, you're around the same age, you got the same job, all that stuff, you really don't know a person just by looking at the outside. You can't judge a book by its cover. So you also can't judge your results based on what you see on the outside with that person. You have no idea what they're struggling with. So the first thing is to stop comparing yourself to other people's program and other people's success. And last, or second, but really one thing that I think is very important here is you just have to keep showing up. Okay. You just have to get to a position where you're just not going to stop. And so this brings up a story that I heard on a podcast yesterday, and it's about a gentleman who he lost 100 pounds. And in his first month, the rule of going to the gym was that he had to go. He could only be in there for 5 minutes, and then he had to leave. So most would hear that, and most would think, those 5 minutes are not going to get you anything. You're not going to be successful. What could you possibly do in 5 minutes? But for the first month, this is exactly what he did. He would literally go in there. He would get there first time, get there, and then spend 5 minutes on the treadmill and leave. Next time, get there, spend 5 minutes on one exercise and leave. And so again, many might even still be hearing this story thinking it's not going to work. But how did it work? Because he got himself into the habit of showing up. And that's the hardest thing for many people to do, is to actually just show up. What we end up noticing is that it's one of the most difficult things to stay consistent with. And so by just showing up, you start to turn the mind. You start to change the mind into thinking that this is a habit. This is something that I'm going to do on a regular basis. Now, we're not expecting to see some magical transformation in a day, in a month, sometimes even 6 months. Everybody is on a different program. But if you continue to show up, you're going to start to adhere to a little thing called compounded interest. And I love compounded interest because, you know, in any industry, you understand that it's the small decisions that happen on a daily basis that actually get you towards the goal. Meaning small decisions and small habits that happen continuously. You continue to show up and you continue to put forth those actions, which eventually compound into a much larger picture. But many times we're just expecting to see this picture right away. Many times we're expecting to see this result right away. And if we don't see the result right away, in our minds, it's thinking, okay, I just need to pivot and take a different route rather than staying on the route and course that you're on, but learning how to travel it more efficiently. And so think about the guy who lost 100 pounds. He may have been going in for 5 minutes every time, but at a certain point in time, it became a habit. It became something that he was doing on a regular basis. So he was able to break the cycle of quitting and was able to continue and grow the cycle of showing up. And then eventually things changed for him because it became a passion. But in the beginning, when you're not passionate about something, you just truly want it. Wanting something and being passionate about something are completely different. When you're passionate about something, you will do everything that it takes to achieve that goal, achieve that mission, whatever it is you're passionate about. But if it's something that you just want, there's many things that can derail you. So you have to be in a pattern and a habit of no matter what challenges come up, no matter how I get derailed, I'm going to continue on. I'm going to keep showing up because I know that in order for me to end this roller coaster of a ride when it comes to my fitness, I have to be consistent in something. Many times, if you're losing weight, losing muscle, gaining muscle, struggling, it's not necessarily the techniques that you're doing, it's the mindset that you have. So let's start, or actually, let's stop focusing on the technique and let's start focusing on your mindset. What are you going to do to make sure that you are continuously showing up for your health or your business or your family or your relationship, whatever it is? We all know that we have to put in a little bit every single day into all these different categories in order for them to maintain and be successful, whether it be a business, your family, or your health. So let's just make sure that when you are starting to get a little bit unmotivated because you're not seeing the results that you want, just remember this message. Just keep showing up. It's the only way this thing's going to work. You have to continue and you have to be consistent because in order for you to attain these results, you have to deserve them. So I appreciate you all jumping on. Thank you for being a part of this here. And of course, next week, 7 o'clock, Monday night, 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, we will be coming back on live and we'll be talking about 3 new topics. I have coaching calls all week long and I go through these topics literally every day. And so this is my way of hoping to share some of the information that I come across with all these different people. So again, thanks for joining on. And always remember, health truly is wealth.